Level 1, the tourist. You download a browser. 4 minutes. You are now on a network that governments have been trying to shut down for 15 years.
The icon looks like every other icon. Nothing significant. It's 1:45 a.m. You open it. The screen is the only light in the room. The first thing you notice is how slow the page loads. The address bar shows a string of random letters and numbers. You expected something dramatic. Dark interfaces. The feeling of crossing into something forbidden. What you get looks like the internet in 2003. Plain text, black backgrounds, forums with no images, a directory page listing categories the way a library catalogs books. Except the categories aren't books. You click here, you click there, a forum about privacy software, a forum about government surveillance, a marketplace. You find the marketplace the way you'd find anything. It's just there, listed, one link among others. The listings look like eBay: seller ratings, product descriptions, shipping estimates, prices in a currency you don't use. You scroll for a few minutes. You don't buy anything. You don't make an account. You just look. After 40 minutes, you close the browser. You go to bed. You tell yourself, that was it. That was the dark web. Disappointing, mostly. Nothing like what you'd seen described. Just a slow, ugly version of the internet where people sell things they shouldn't. Here's what you didn't know. The browser bounced your connection through 3 relay countries tonight. That part worked. But the moment anyone on that network does anything that moves money, converts it, spends it, receives it, the protection ends. You didn't do any of that tonight, but you found the marketplace. You know where it is now.
Level 2, the buyer. You spend 3 days reading reviews before you place the first order. Not because you're nervous, because that's how it works here. Vendor ratings displayed to 2 decimal places. Feedback threads going back 18 months. Buyers describing packaging quality, shipping times, whether the product matched the listing. You read the negative reviews first. That's what you do on Amazon too. You realize you're doing exactly what you do on Amazon. You convert $200 cash to Monero at a rate that takes 20 minutes to understand. You use a reshipping address, a mailbox at a print shop 2 towns over, registered under a name that isn't yours. You place the order. The vendor confirms within the hour, professional and polite. Estimated delivery 7 to 10 days. You check the order status every morning before work. On day 9, a padded envelope arrives at the mailbox. It looks like every other piece of mail. The return address is real. It has nothing to do with where it came from. Inside, the contents are vacuum sealed and pressed flat. You drive home with it on the passenger seat. You leave a 5-star review, detailed and specific. Packaging is excellent. Communication is fast. Would order again. You order again. By the 6th order, you've stopped thinking of this as unusual. 1 in 15 international packages get seized. You read that in a forum early on, and the number stayed with you. Not as a warning, as a statistic to remember. You've had one seized, the vendor refunded without being asked. That's good customer service. Here's what the forum didn't mention. Every transaction you've made has a timestamp, an amount, and a destination address permanently recorded on a public ledger. Blockchain analytics firms harvest that data and sell it to law enforcement. The browser hid your IP address. It didn't hide any of that. Level 3, the small vendor. The packaging room smells like acetone and heat-sealed plastic. It is a bathroom in a rental apartment. The vacuum sealer sits on the edge of the bathtub. Postal scales on the closed toilet lid. Stacks of padded envelopes pre-labeled with return addresses, businesses that don't exist. You have 23 orders to fill before noon. You pull on latex gloves. You work methodically. You measure. You seal. You label. You stack. The process took 3 weeks to get efficient. Now it takes 2 hours for a full batch. You've optimized it the way you'd optimize any operation, because that's what this is. By 11:40, you're in the car. You rotate between 3 post offices within 30 miles. Never the same one twice in a week. Never more than a handful of packages per visit. You pay cash. You make small talk with the clerk about the weather. You drive home. You check your reviews before you check anything else. Your rating is 4.8 stars across 340 sales. You know what that number is worth. Vendors with ratings above 4.7 charge measurably more for identical products. Your rating is the business. A single one-star review from a seized package or a slow delivery sits in your queue right now, and you've drafted 4 different responses trying to find the right tone. Professional, apologetic, not defensive. You settle on the 3rd draft. Your inbox has 6 support tickets today. 2 are asking about delivery timelines. 1 is a complaint about packaging. 1 is a refund request you'll approve without argument because a dispute costs more than the refund. You answer all 6 within the hour. Response time affects ratings too. In the evening, you check the market status page. Still up. 340,000 active listings. You've built a year of reputation on this platform. Your vendor bond, your review history, your repeat customers. All of it exists on servers you've never seen in a country you don't know, controlled by a person whose real name you'll never learn. You don't think about that too often. Here's the number you don't know. The average dark web marketplace lasts 240 days before it's seized, exit scammed, or shut down. The one you built your business on has been running for 190. When it disappears, everything you built disappears with it. The review history, the vendor bond, the 4.8 stars, all of it gone before your next batch is sealed. Level 4, the market employee. The job listing was posted on a dark web forum. It read like any other remote work posting. Customer service experience preferred. Familiarity with escrow systems is a plus. Reliable internet connection required. Compensation negotiable, paid weekly in Monero. You applied, you had a probationary period, you passed it. Now you have a manager, a shift, and a dispute queue that resets every morning at 9 a.m. Today's queue has 14 items. You work through them in order. A buyer in the Netherlands claiming a package never arrived. You pull the vendor's tracking confirmation, the wallet timestamp, the message logs. Evidence supports the vendor. You release the escrow. Next case. A vendor accusing a buyer of filing false complaints to recover funds. You review the transaction history. 3rd dispute this buyer has opened in 6 weeks, all resolved in their favor. You flag the account for review and hold the escrow pending investigation. You work the same way a claims adjuster works. Evidence in and decision out. Next case. By noon, you've cleared 11 disputes and moderated 4 vendor applications. 1 application gets rejected. A new account, no references. For a product category the market is not welcoming. You send a standard rejection notice. The applicant sends 3 follow-up messages. You don't respond to any of them. That's policy. Your weekly payment arrives every Friday. Monero, direct to your wallet, consistent and on time. Better than 2 jobs you've had that were legal. You don't think much about what the market sells. That's not your department. Your department is process, making sure the escrow releases correctly, the vendors meet the listing standards, the buyers get responses within 24 hours. The infrastructure of a functioning marketplace. The fact that the marketplace sells what it sells is something you've made your peace with. You've worked for 2 other markets before this one. When they went down, you found new postings within a week. There's always demand for someone who knows the systems. What you don't know is that every shift you've worked has left a record, login times, decision patterns, writing style consistent enough across thousands of moderator notes to be fingerprinted. The wallet that receives your Friday payments is attached to a transaction graph that ends somewhere a blockchain analyst is currently looking. And when this market falls, not if, when, the administrator will be the first person prosecutors approach. The second thing prosecutors will ask for is the staff list. You are on that list. Level 5, the technical builder. The job posting appeared on a forum as always. It looked like every other senior developer listing. Competitive compensation, remote position, crypto payments, experience with scalable marketplace architecture required. Familiarity with security protocols is essential. You sent a portfolio, they reviewed it. You had 3 interviews over encrypted chat with someone whose name you will never learn. The work was straightforward. Build a marketplace platform that handles high transaction volume, integrates escrow, and stays up under load. You've built variations of that architecture 4 times for legitimate clients. You take the job. Your monthly invoice is $18,000, paid in cryptocurrency on the first of every month without fail. You work from wherever you are. You've worked from 3 countries in the past year. Your hours are flexible. The code base is clean, well documented, the kind of work you'd put in a portfolio. You don't put this in your portfolio. Most of your work looks like this. A vendor reports a checkout bug. You pull the logs, isolate the issue, push a fix before the trading day peaks. A DDoS attempt hits the servers at 2 a.m., your time. You're already awake, already routing traffic, already building the mitigation response. The platform stays up. Nobody notices because nothing happened. That's the job. You take security seriously, more seriously than most legitimate clients you've worked for. You patch vulnerabilities within hours. You've built an authentication system that's genuinely difficult to penetrate. You've run your own attack simulations against the infrastructure and found nothing you haven't already closed. You tell yourself you're just a programmer. The same code running this platform could run a legitimate marketplace. You're not wrong about that. You think about it occasionally, then stop thinking about it, because the thinking doesn't change anything and the first of the month is coming. What you've never examined is the other direction. While you were securing the platform from outside attack, someone else was working from the outside in, not through your code, through your payments. Every invoice you've collected traces back through a cryptocurrency transaction graph that investigators have been building for 7 months. You secured the front door. You never checked what was visible from the street. The platform you built has processed $40 million in transactions. Your wallet received $216,000. Both numbers are in the same investigator's report. Level 6, the major vendor. You don't touch product anymore. That's the first thing that changes when the operation scales. You have people for that. 3 packagers working out of a warehouse unit, rented under a name that connects to nothing. A pill press operator, you pay $4,000 a week in cash. 2 customer service staff handling the support queue in shifts. You hired them the same way you'd hire anyone, through a forum, with a trial period, with performance expectations. A runner who moves bulk supply from the sourcing point to the warehouse. You don't meet the runner in person. That's policy. Your sourcing comes from chemical suppliers operating legally in jurisdictions where the compounds aren't scheduled. Orders placed through intermediaries, invoiced as industrial materials. The supply chain looks on paper like a small import business. You manage the operation from a laptop. Revenue targets, fulfillment rates, customer satisfaction scores, staff performance. You have a weekly review process. You have a margin problem you've been working on for 6 weeks. The cost of raw materials went up 18% and you haven't passed it to customers yet because your rating is a competitive advantage and you're not risking it for margin. That's the meeting you're preparing for today. The operation clears $400,000 a month in revenue. Your personal take after operational costs is closer to $180,000. You think about that number, sometimes the way executives think about their compensation, relative to the risk, relative to what the market would pay for this level of operational complexity. The risk keeps you awake, but not the risk you'd expect, not law enforcement, not blockchain analytics, not the market going down, your staff. Every person on your payroll knows a piece of the operation. The packagers know the warehouse address. The customer service staff know the market accounts. The runner knows the supply route. None of them know everything. You designed it that way deliberately. But each of them knows enough. And any one of them, facing their own arrest, facing their own prosecutor, facing their own calculation about what cooperation is worth, any one of them becomes the most dangerous person in your operation. The FBI has a name for this. They don't call it surveillance. They don't call it blockchain forensics. They call it a plea agreement. The most effective tool the FBI deploys against dark web operations isn't a computer. It's a sentence reduction offered to someone 4 levels below you who decides the math works in their favor. It always works in their favor. Level 7, the market administrator. You own the platform, not on paper, not under your name, not in any document that connects to anything real about you. But the servers are yours, the escrow wallets are yours, and every transaction that moves through this marketplace, every vendor payment, every buyer deposit, every dispute resolution, passes through your control before it goes anywhere else. You take 5% of everything, On a strong day, that's $50,000. You have strong days most days now. Your real identity is unknown to everyone on the platform. Your moderators don't know it. Your developers don't know it. The vendors who built their entire businesses on your infrastructure don't know it. You designed that invisibility carefully, layer by layer, the same way you designed everything else. You are not the only person who thought of this. Ross Ulbricht built Silk Road into a $1.2 billion marketplace from San Francisco coffee shops. He was identified not through technical surveillance, not through blockchain forensics, not through an undercover operation. He posted about Silk Road using his personal Gmail address in a public forum in 2011. The IRS found it 3 years later. One mistake is all it takes. You think about your mistakes sometimes. You believe you haven't made one. Your escrow wallets hold $14 million right now. You've thought about what moving that would look like. Fast, clean, and untraceable. Here's what every administrator who moved that money learned too late. A large cryptocurrency balance moving quickly is the single most visible event on a blockchain. The exit scam and the arrest have the same ending. They just arrive in a different order. Level 8, the ghost. You got out. No dramatic exit. You just stopped. Withdrew what was accessible, let the usernames go quiet, close the accounts one by one. Nobody came looking, no knock arrived. You have a job now. Legitimate, unremarkable. A title, a manager, a performance review in March. You sit in meetings and contribute and collect a salary that covers rent with something left over. The problem isn't the money. You have money. Sitting in wallets you access carefully and convert slowly. That part is manageable. The problem is the meetings. You sit across from people worried about quarterly numbers, a client who didn't respond, whether the new hire is working out. You nod, you contribute, you say the right things. Some part of you is always somewhere else, not missing it. More like, you learned how systems actually work, how trust gets manufactured and sold and withdrawn, and you can't unlearn it. Every legitimate structure you move through now looks like a slower version of something you've already seen run faster and uglier. You don't talk about the years you spent inside a system that processed millions and left without any record of your participation. Some markets you worked on are still referenced in court documents. Your username appears in none of them. Somewhere tonight, a new market is processing its first transactions. New vendors building reputations from zero. New administrators taking their 5%. New tourists opening a browser because, someone said, most people never do. The system didn't notice you leave. It was already replacing you before you closed the last tab. Every market that ever ran on the dark web is gone now. The vendors lost their ratings. The buyers lost their orders. The administrator left with the escrow. This is not a flaw in the system. This is what the system is built to do. Trust was never the foundation. It is the inventory.